You're trying the screenwriting thing, but you aren't getting the results you've been looking for. So what's wrong? Well, candidly, it might be you. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that stuff. I really appreciate it. There's some links below. Be sure to check those out. They might be really helpful to you. Let's jump in. On this channel, we talk about screenwriting and storytelling. I honestly love helping others who are learning the craft. I mean, I can talk about story and storytelling all day. And nearly all the videos on this channel are about the craft. And from time to time, I also offer some advice based on my experience or my conversations with other screenwriters, because it's not only about the craft, right? It's about life too. So while I do want to help you get better at the craft, I also hope your life is full and you are enjoying storytelling as much as I am. This means, though, that part of the craft is actually your everyday life. Your everyday walk around, get up, whatever life. And as you look at where you're at right now, you might not be getting the results that you think you should be getting or that you ought to be getting. And you're thinking, like, what else can I possibly do? Like, I feel like I'm doing all the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. I'm reading books, I'm learning stuff, but I'm just not getting any better. And as a result, we're gonna have a challenging conversation today, because the problem may have nothing to do with your skill. It might have to do with you. So we're gonna be a little honest today, and if you keep watching, I'm probably gonna step on your toes a bit, might stomp on them. I'm not doing it because I want to hurt you or anything like that. I'm generally like a pretty nice guy. I'm telling you because I want you to achieve the goals you're pursuing. And I don't want you to be on your own, and I don't want you to be your worst enemy. I'm on your side. But today might be a bit of tough love. So I'm going to ease into it, though. Just kind of be aware. When it comes to your writing and your life, really, the first thing I want you to do is own your stuff. And by stuff, I don't just mean your writing. I mean everything that makes you, you. And while you think that what makes you, you are the qualities you have, that's not exactly true. Because if you tell me, like, hey, I'm kind or I'm generous, for example, the only proof I have if you are that is if I see you doing those things that reflect your kindness or your generosity. In other words, I can only evaluate you on your actions, on what you do. And if you think and reflect for a moment, you can probably identify things that you've done, right? Things that you're proud of and things that you aren't. And sometimes we bring trouble on ourselves, right? I mean, sometimes we mess up. We made bad choices. We did things we shouldn't have done. We brought that on ourselves. We do things that we know aren't healthy for us or those around us, and yet we do them anyway. At the same time, you also do things that are good for others, right? You are kind. You might be generous from time to time. Hopefully you are. And you do those things. So when I say own your stuff, okay, that's what I mean, is owning all of it. All the good, all the bad, but not who you think you are. Owning what you've done. What have I done? What have I produced? What have I lived out in my everyday walk around life? All of the good along with all the bad. Okay, you've done all of that, so you gotta own all of that. And that doesn't mean you need to live and dwell in the past, and it doesn't mean you like walk around just full of guilt and regret because of these other things that you've done. It means that you need to own it. The successes, yes, you did those. The failures, yes, you did those too, right? You own them. Learn from them. Don't stay in the past. You move on. The problem, you may just not be owning all your stuff. And one of the reasons for that is because you are too busy blaming others for where you're at. It's so easy to blame someone else than to point a finger at ourselves, right? I mean, it's easy to just say, like, it's their fault, instead of saying it's my fault, because you're not owning it. It's hard to blame ourselves, even if we are the cause of it. It's easy to blame other people. It's also easy to blame our circumstances, right? The circumstances around us. It's easy to blame those things. I'm not like this because, or I'm this way because of the circumstances around me, because we're blaming other things and other people. And to be fair, do people get an unfair hand? Are there people who have an unfair advantage? 100%. Welcome to life. But stop standing there with your hand out, complaining about how others should be helping you because of your unfair hand and your unfair advantage. Do the work It takes work to be a screenwriter. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter who you are. It takes work, because the first thing that gets judged are the words on the page. If the words on the page aren't there, it doesn't matter anything else about you. There's nothing else there to judge. It's what you do, right? It's what my actions. I can say I'm a screenwriter, but if I'm not writing anything, like, am I really a screenwriter? So the next time you catch yourself blaming someone else or even your circumstances, I would encourage you first to take a look in the mirror and do a really hard look at yourself. Maybe it's you who let you down. You didn't do the work. You didn't go the extra mile. You didn't do the thing because you stopped short. Maybe you're like, but Jake, that's not me. I'm not blaming others, right? But man, I don't have enough resources. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I just can't make it work. Okay, here's the thing. Time and money are inanimate objects. They just do their thing. They are resources that you can spend or not spend however you choose. If something's really important to you, like really important, you find a way to make it work. If there's someone special in your life, if you have kids, if you have religious faith, if you have all those things that are important to you, you find a way to integrate them into your life. And writing is no different. You want to be a writer, so you find the time, you carve out the time, you manage your resources of time better. And that might mean you give up going out with friends at times. It might mean you give up drinking. It might mean you lose a little sleep. It might mean a bunch of things. But time is not necessarily your enemy. And money isn't really your enemy. They're resources for you to use how you choose to use them. And you need to find a way to acquire them and acquire more of them if you need them. If you don't have enough time, you find time in your day. You find a way to acquire more time. You reschedule your day. You make the time you need. You need more money? Okay, you find a second job. You have a yard sale. You sell things that you aren't using. Sell services that you can do for other people. Find a way to get the resources that you need. Stop blaming your lack of resources on what you are or are not able to do. And yes, I realize that sometimes it's really hard. I know the circumstances of your world can be difficult. But if that's the case, change your world.
I think you can be anything you want to be.
Maybe in your world, Robert. It doesn't really happen that way in mine.
Change your world.
Find a way. If it's important, commit and do it. Stop blaming. No more blaming. And no more being a martyr. You may be sitting there with your arms crossed, a little pissed at me right now, thinking, Jake, you just don't know my life, and you don't know how hard it's been. And to that, I'd say, you know what? You're absolutely right. I don't know. I don't. But then I'd also say this. If your life is how it is because of mistakes you've made, then own them and move forward, right? We've talked about that. But if your life is hard because of circumstances and consequences that you can't control, okay, like maybe you're in an abusive relationship, you're dealing with mental health issues like a lot of us are right now, or you've been pushed into a corner or ostracized by family and friends through no fault of your own. Maybe you've lost your job, or your health isn't great, or any other number of things that people all around the world right now are dealing with. And if your life is hard because of consequences and circumstances you can't control, stop being a martyr. The bad things happening to you and that have happened to you are not your fault. And it sucks to be where you are, 100%, but it's your heart and it's your life. Take some responsibility and work on it. Stop the woe is me routine. Get up off your butt and fix it. If you need to go see a counselor, go see one. If you need a mentor, find one. If you need advice, get some. Life isn't all rainbows and unicorns. We've all lived long enough to know that. So stop acting like you deserve them. Go out and get them. Take responsibility for your own life and stop letting others dictate how successful you are and how successful you can be. One thing you can do is change your attitude. You control your attitude. If something happens to you, you can be angry. Or you can take a step back and realize that the other person might also be having a sucky day too, and extend a little grace to them. Why are you choosing to live your life with the emotions that everyone else is assigning to you? If you want to have a good attitude, then have a good attitude. It's your choice. I mean, one thing that can help with your attitude is this. Instead of seeing others as something you can get something from, so stop viewing others as a commodity, view others as people that you can give something to. How can you help other people? Just shifting that focus from looking at yourself all the time to looking at others can massively impact your attitude and make it much, much better. Be kind to people. Be courteous. Be generous. And this doesn't mean getting walked all over, right? I mean, this doesn't mean like just, just like getting run over. You do stand your ground for what you believe, but you do it gently and you do it with grace. And in the midst of all this, remember that failure is not the end. I mean, so many writers write one script, it doesn't sell, and they get frustrated and think they're a failure. Okay, it takes time to learn this craft and to get good at it. It's hard, and not very many people do it. But the thing is, failure is an opportunity to learn. Ira Glass, who is a famed radio host, has a really great video that I'm going to link here, but he talks about this gap between your taste and your ability. And when you start writing, you think you're good, right? You think, I'm good. But when you read what you've written, you realize man, I'm not as good as I thought. But your taste is what lets you know that you're not quite good yet, right? Your ability is just not there yet. And the way to close the gap between your taste, what you see, this is really good, and your ability is to practice and practice and practice and practice. And you're going to fail. You're going to fail. But you're getting closer and closer. So you keep going because failure is not the end. The other part of this, though, is if you keep failing, right? I'm failing over and over. I'm learning. But the thing is, you're just doing the same thing again and again. Okay, you're causing your own problem. I mean, doing the same thing again and again, expecting different results, I'm pretty sure that's the definition of insanity, so says the internet, right? If you are failing and you don't see improvement, then try a different strategy. Take a different class. Hire a script consultant. But those cost money. Stop blaming your lack of resources. If you want to do something, find a way. And if you're not getting results you're after, maybe you need to try a new approach, or maybe the screenwriting stuff isn't for you. That's okay too. Your time spent trying this craft will lead you to what might be better suited for you. And maybe you need an honest evaluation of where you're at. Are you actually any good? I mean, realize it takes most people 10 to 15 years to break in as a screenwriter. 10 to 15 years. I mean, maybe you'll buck the curve, but screenwriting is a long game. You can get there faster, but you have to do the work. You have to put in the time. You got to do the right work. You got to spend the right amount of time. You can't blame other people. You can't play a martyr. You got to change your attitude, embrace failure as a learning opportunity, all of those things, right? And one more thing, and this may be the most difficult of the bunch. You have to believe you can fix it. You have to believe in yourself as a powerful ally. You have to see yourself as a help. Seeing how others work to improve their writing might be hopeful and should help you know that if you work, you will get better. And everyone takes a different path to get there, right? Some people just get there on their own. Some people can read 2 screenwriting books, they write a great screenplay, and they're well on their way. Others of us, man, it takes a long time. Others need to hire coaches or mentors and walk them through the process. Others take online classes or go to grad school. Others just jump in, move to LA, scratch and claw their way and figure it out. But you have to believe you can do it, or it's just not going to happen. It doesn't matter if you do all the other stuff on the list. If you don't believe that you can do it, it's not going to happen. I mean, you can do something to change the pattern. You can do something to interrupt your current trajectory and get yourself on a better path. I have some resources below that might help, but they might not be for everyone. That's fine. I don't take any offense at that. If it's helpful to you, use it. If not, no big deal. If the only thing this video helps you do is get off your butt and do something, okay, that's a win. That's a major win because you can do great things. You have great stories inside of you that the world needs to hear. Stories that matter. Stories that will make a difference. But if all you're doing is blaming others or your circumstances or doing the same things over and over again, okay, we're never going to get to hear, I'll never get to hear your stories. And that would be a tragedy. Because the world needs to hear stories that matter. No more excuses. Time for a rewrite of you. It's the you 2.0 or 4.0 or whatever version you're on. Like, keep getting better. Keep what's working. Own your successes. Own your failures and mistakes. Commit to making your life better. Now, for some of you, it might be the equivalent of a page 1 rewrite. Like, you're just totally starting over. And that's okay. You are the protagonist of your story. And a story, as a reminder, is about someone who wants something badly, is having trouble getting it, and they get it or they don't. So are you going to get it or not? I hope you do. No more excuses. I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, please be sure to like, subscribe, bell, all those things. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate the interaction. It helps others find the channel. Thank you for doing that. Be sure to check out links below. And when you've stopped making excuses and are working toward your storytelling goals and you are telling a story, tell a story that matters. See you later.